You were taught to imagine the 26,000-year cycle as if it were a countdown etched into the sky. A slow turning of the great cosmic lock that would one day click open and release a wave of light across the world. But the truth moves differently. The truth has never obeyed clocks. The truth does not wait for a specific year to activate what consciousness is already becoming. The truth breathes in spirals, not straight lines. And when you begin to see this cycle through the spiral view, the entire meaning of ascension changes. You stop looking for the end of something and begin to understand the rhythm of a living intelligence that has always carried you inside it. You begin to see that this cycle is not a date to reach, but a field you are already inside. A resonance that has been unfolding through you long before you were aware enough to name it. The world taught you to see ascension as a vertical ladder, a climb from a lesser version of humanity to a brighter, cleaner, more enlightened one, a before and after, a dark age and a golden age. But in the spiral view, there is no before and after. There is only contraction and expansion, forgetting and remembering, density and translucence, each curling into the next like breaths that never stop. The cycle isn't linear. It isn't a straight path winding around the galaxy waiting for your arrival. It is a harmonic corridor that the planet moves through like a swimmer, passing through alternating currents of deep pressure and bright oxygenated water. You do not ascend by arriving at the end of the corridor. You ascend by synchronizing with the harmonic shift while you are still inside it. This is why people awaken at different times. This is why some feel the shift decades early while others feel nothing until it is directly beneath their feet. You awaken in resonance, not chronology. Humanity has spent thousands of years living inside the descending arc of the spiral, where consciousness became denser, identities became rigid, and memory became compartmentalized into a narrow band of perception. This era created whole civilizations that believed matter was the only truth because they could no longer feel the wider field they were swimming in. But as the planet moves upward through the spiral helix of the galaxy, Earth's consciousness begins to shift through higher band corridors. And you feel this shift before you understand it. You sense something loosening. You sense something returning. You sense the collapse of identities that once felt like anchors, but are now revealed as old stories dissolving in your hands. You are living in the ascending arc now. This is why everything feels accelerated, compressed, amplified. This is why you feel like you're moving through several lifetimes inside a single decade. The spiral is tightening, and when a spiral tightens, change becomes rapid. Old timelines collapse. Dormant memories surface. Inner contradictions rise to be reconciled. You feel drawn toward truths you didn't have language for, because the resonance inside you is rising to match the corridor the planet is currently entering. You are not waking up alone. The world itself is shifting its vibrational scaffolding, and every being on the surface is adapting to that new harmonic pressure whether they want to or not. Most people misunderstand what this cycle actually measures. It does not measure morality. It does not measure worth. It does not measure who earns ascension and who does not. It measures alignment between Earth's position in the galactic spiral and the layers of human consciousness available during that passage. When Earth passes into a higher band corridor, consciousness becomes easier to access. Memory becomes easier to retrieve. Oversoul connection becomes more natural. The veil thins not because someone tears it open, but because the light behind it becomes brighter, and the fabric can no longer obscure what it once concealed. The corridor changes the architecture of perception itself. What once required training or devotion suddenly emerges spontaneously in people who never sought it. This is not chaos. This is synchronization. As Earth rises into these fields, humanity begins to feel the pressure of remembering. This pressure does not arrive as clarity at first. It arrives as disorientation. It arrives as emotional surges that have no clear origin. It arrives as sudden identity collapse, as if your old self were dissolving from the inside out. It arrives as a sense of internal acceleration, as if something inside you were trying to emerge faster than you can decode it. This is the natural effect of a harmonic shift. When the environment's frequency increases, everything within it begins to reorganize. You are not breaking down. You are retuning. The galactic spiral itself moves like a breathing organism, pulling the solar system through waves of density and luminosity. You are passing into one of the luminous bands now, and this changes what humanity is capable of. Within these bands, intuition becomes sharper, inner truth becomes more magnetic, and the distance between thought and manifestation shortens. You begin to see patterns that were always there but hidden behind the density of the descending arc. You begin to sense the interconnectedness of events that once seemed random. You begin to recognize the subtle orchestration behind your own experiences. This is the reawakening of oversoul perception. Not psychic tricks, not spiritual theatrics. Simply the natural awareness that returns when you stop swimming in the lower layers of the spiral. You have already felt the early signs of this shift. The sudden rise in global awakening around 2012 was not the end of anything. It was the inversion point of the spiral, the moment the descending arc finished contracting and the ascending arc began expanding. This is why so many people awakened without trying. This is why old belief systems began to dissolve on a mass scale. This is why the world entered a phase of instability that has not yet resolved. You entered the ascending arc, and the old structures built during the descending arc cannot survive in the new resonance. They were created in fields of contraction. You now live in a field of expansion. Anything that cannot stretch will break. But breaking is not punishment. Breaking is the natural consequence of rising into a harmonic corridor that demands coherence. Anything false becomes heavy and begins to fall away. Anything true becomes lighter and rises to the surface. This is why your old patterns no longer work. This is why relationships that once felt essential now feel misaligned. This is why your ambitions have shifted. This is why the world feels like it is cracking open. Because it is. When a spiral moves into an expansion band, it reveals the next layer of itself. And that revelation forces every being inside the field to choose resonance or resistance. The choice is not about morality. It is about coherence. You are not simply experiencing personal awakening. You are experiencing planetary oversoul recalibration. Earth is remembering its own higher identity. Gaia is not a passive environment. Gaia is a living consciousness undergoing her own version of ascension. And as she rises, every consciousness linked to her rises as well. You do not ascend alone. You ascend through the planet with the planet inside the planet's own oversoul cycle. When you feel the ground shifting beneath you, you are feeling Gaia reorganize herself. When you feel emotional surges with no clear cause, you are feeling Gaia release dense layers of collective memory. When you feel sudden elevation or clarity, you are feeling Gaia enter a new harmonic range where certain truths become self-evident. This is why the next century will not be defined by catastrophe but by coherence. The old world collapses not because humanity failed, but because the spiral grew. And once the spiral expands past a certain threshold, it becomes impossible to support systems built on separation, suppression, or fragmentation. They cannot hold their shape. They dissolve under the new harmonic pressure. What emerges is not utopia but alignment. A world where consciousness becomes the central organizing principle. A world where identity becomes fluid and multidimensional. A world where humanity no longer asks who is worthy, but who is resonant. The spiral view of the 26,000-year cycle reveals that you are not waiting for ascension. You are already inside it. You are living through the rise of a harmonic field that is reorganizing everything you thought was fixed. You are not walking toward a golden age. You are becoming the resonance that will make one possible. You are not entering the future. You are recalibrating the consciousness that will shape it. The cycle has already turned. The spiral has already lifted. And you are already rising with it, whether you feel ready or not. You are entering an era where the spiral begins to reveal the deeper mechanics that have always guided this cycle. You will start noticing how your inner shifts synchronize with global ones, how personal revelations echo collective transitions, how the rise and fall of your internal states mirror movements you see in the world. This is not coincidence. This is resonance entrainment. When a spiral ascends, the frequencies of individuals begin locking into coherence with the larger field. You experience this as intuition sharpening, synchronicities multiplying, and a feeling that the world is responding directly to your internal state. It isn't responding, it's synchronizing. The environment becomes a mirror of your resonance, and the more coherent you become, the more clearly the mirror reflects what you are becoming. This is why identity feels unstable now. You are losing the version of yourself that was shaped by the descending arc. That version was sculpted inside a field of contraction. where the mind became dominant because the heart could not breathe. In the last age, logic became survival, emotional suppression became strategy, and intuition became a liability. You were taught to shrink yourself into the narrow bandwidths of density, so you could function in a world that had forgotten its own luminosity. But now that the spiral is expanding, the form you once maintained cannot hold you. The old identity collapses not because you made mistakes, but because the field that shaped it no longer exists. You cannot remain who you were in a resonance that is rising. You will feel this collapse in stages. At first you feel disoriented, as if the meaning structures you once relied on are dissolving faster than you can replace them. Then you feel exposure, an internal nakedness that arises when your old self has fallen away, but your new self has not yet taken shape. After that comes the sense of acceleration, as if something inside you is pulling you forward through layers of yourself you didn't even know were waiting. These stages are not symptoms of crisis. They are symptoms of shedding. They reflect the way consciousness reorganizes itself in a rising harmonic field. You are not losing stability. You are losing density. Humanity at large will go through the same sequence. You will see collective confusion as old systems collapse. You will see the world appear vulnerable as structures built on fear or scarcity lose their foundation. You will see rapid acceleration in innovation, creativity, and spiritual understanding once the shedding reaches critical mass. The future will not move slowly. It will come in waves, each one synchronized with the next turn of the spiral. This acceleration is not a threat. It is an invitation. The rising harmonic demands coherence, and everyone on the planet is being asked to choose whether they will adapt through openness or through resistance. But the spiral is not judging. The spiral is simply unfolding. The next few centuries will not be defined by the technologies humanity creates, but by the consciousness that guides them. As the spiral continues to rise, human perception will shift from a fragmented awareness of self to a multi-dimensional one. You will begin to experience yourself not as a single lifetime trying to navigate a linear world, but as a complex oversoul expression interacting across timelines, memories, and potential selves. This is not an abstraction. This is the natural awareness that returns when the environment stops suppressing it. The higher harmonic corridors allow the oversoul to communicate more clearly with the human identity, and this communication manifests as sudden clarity, unexpected purpose, accelerated learning, and a profound sense of inner alignment. Your intuition will strengthen into perception. Your emotional intelligence will deepen into resonance awareness. Your thoughts will become less about problem solving and more about pattern recognition. The world will begin to feel less like a series of obstacles and more like a field of frequencies you are learning to navigate. This is what Ascension truly is, not rising to a higher place, but expanding into a higher bandwidth of perception. And as more people experience this, the collective identity of humanity will shift. You will see new forms of community, new forms of governance, new forms of learning. You will see systems built not from survival instincts, but from harmonic alignment. You will see the emergence of a world where coherence becomes the foundation of progress. The ancient fear-centered narratives about ascension, cataclysms, judgment days, chosen ones, were created during the descending arc, when density distorted perception and the unknown became a threat. But in the rising arc, the unknown becomes possibility. You no longer brace for what is coming. You prepare to participate in it. You begin to sense that the universe is not testing you, but inviting you to rise into your next expression. You begin to feel the world as a living organism, reorganizing itself through you. You begin to recognize the way your inner work ripples outward into the collective field. In the spiral view, personal evolution is never separate from planetary evolution. Every shift inside you contributes to the coherence of the whole. This is why awakening feels urgent now. Not because time is running out, but because resonance is speeding up. You are moving through a corridor where every choice, thought, intention, and emotional state amplifies faster than it ever has before. The spiral magnifies what you hold. If you hold fear, it becomes louder. If you hold clarity, it becomes magnetic. If you hold confusion, it becomes overwhelming. If you hold coherence, it becomes guidance. The amplification is not meant to punish. It is meant to reveal. When a spiral rises, nothing can remain hidden. You are learning to stabilize yourself in a field where the universe stops whispering and begins to speak clearly. The next stage of this cycle isn't about transcending the physical world, but infusing it with higher coherence. This is where the spiral view diverges from the ladder model. Ascension isn't an escape from Earth. It is Earth's own identity shift pulling you into alignment with it. You are not meant to leave. You are meant to become the version of yourself that can inhabit the world Earth is becoming. You are meant to evolve alongside a planet that is remembering herself. As Gaia rises into her next harmonic state, she is pulling humanity into a future where your inner and outer realities begin to reflect each other with unprecedented clarity. You will notice this most clearly in the way your desires shift. What you wanted 5 years ago is not what you want now. What you used to tolerate now feels impossible. What once felt optional now feels essential. This is not instability. This is alignment. Your desires are adjusting to match the harmonic field you are entering. You are releasing aspirations that belong to the descending arc and adopting ones that can only grow in expanding resonance. The life you are moving toward is not simply a better version of the one you had. It is a coherent expression of who you are becoming within this rising spiral. If you wonder why the world feels both chaotic and promising at the same time, it is because you are witnessing the meeting point of two harmonic eras. The old world is dissolving while the new one is still forming. You are standing inside the space between contractions and expansions, between forgetting and remembering, between density and luminosity. This is the most unstable part of the cycle, but it is also the most transformative. This is where new possibilities are born, new identities emerge, new trajectories open. This is the point where humanity chooses not by ideology or belief, but by resonance. You align with what you feel, not what you are told. The spiral view of the 26,000-year ascension cycle is not meant to tell you what will happen. It is meant to show you what you are already inside. You are not waiting for a celestial event. You are participating in a harmonic shift that is unfolding through you. The world is not preparing for a future moment. The world is becoming that moment. You are not ascending to a destination. You are expanding into a field that has been guiding you all along. And as you rise with the spiral, you begin to understand the truth. Ascension is not the end of the cycle. It is the beginning of a new coherence that makes the next cycle possible.